The Indian military is visibly shaking Operation Sindoor inside Pakistan has a few significant takeaways. Firstly, it shows how Chinese air defense systems deployed by Pakistan were completely useless in preventing this precision attack by the Indian military. Secondly, it reveals that the Indian military is completely capable of beating such Chinese or Pakistani air defenses and beating them at will. Stay with us and we'll tell you which Chinese air defense systems does Pakistan operate and what does this mean and the message India is sending across the LAC to Beijing as well. What's more, the Indian military struck not one or two but at least 24 missiles and bombs across 9 different cities in Pakistan or Pakistan-occupied Kashmir.
24 impacts हुए हैं भारत की तरफ से. ये जो impacts हैं मुख्तलिफ तरीकों से मुख्तलिफ वेपन्स को इस्तेमाल करते हुए किए गए.
So India did not just beat the Pakistani-Chinese air defense shield in one small sector, but across the length and breadth of the border with Pakistan, spanning at least 1,000 kilometers front. We will also show you shortly how Pakistani news media has been using game footage and old images from 3 years ago to claim Indian fighter jets had been shot down during this operation, but they have been proven to be false. Of course, Pakistan has been responding with artillery fire across the LOC to target civilian homes in border villages, but the response is nowhere close to the scale and firepower of Indian military's Operation Sindoor. But what should really give sleepless nights to Asim Munir is that India struck the terror headquarters of global terror mastermind Hafiz Saeed in Bahawalpur, which is 150 kilometers deep inside Pakistan. According to several reports, close aides of Saeed have been eliminated. This wasn't a border strike but a precision operation 100 to 150 kilometers deep behind enemy lines, and yet Pakistan and Chinese air defenses utterly failed to prevent multiple Indian missile strikes on this terror headquarters. Let's remind our viewers that Bahawalpur is where the 2019 Pulwama attack had been planned and was regularly visited by UN-designated global terror mastermind Hafiz Saeed. If India can strike Bahawalpur at will, then Pakistan military headquarters in Rawalpindi or key cities like Islamabad or Lahore would have been far more easier targets. Other target was Muridke, over 30 kilometers from the border. However, New Delhi says its intention is to break the Pakistan terror and extremist network, not its military or its civilians. India has gone for the jugular vein of the Pakistan-based terror network, one they will never forget.
India has demonstrated considerable restraint in its response.
Moreover, the Indian military produced footage and multiple recordings of this military operation inside Pakistan, showcasing its operational as well as technical superiority. Islamabad can now never deny Operation Sindoor, like it tried to do and save face after the surgical strikes in 2016 or the Balakot air strike in 2019. What's even more revealing is that this wasn't an attack out of the blue. Prime Minister Modi had openly vowed that Bharat will avenge the Pahalgam attack by Pakistan-based terror groups. Asim Munir's Pakistan army had been at its highest level of war alert and had their weapon systems and Chinese air defenses armed and ready. Munir had been expecting an Indian attack. Yet, when the onslaught commenced, the Pakistan military was caught completely off guard by the Indian Air Force and the Indian Army. According to reports, even the Indian Navy had been pressed into this operation.
Just heard about it. I guess people knew something was going to happen based on a little bit of the past. They've been fighting for a long time.
This attack shows complete Indian military superiority to be able to strike at will across the LOC and the international border with Pakistan. Like the Foreign Ministry explained, the Indian Armed Forces exercised tremendous restraint in limiting this attack to the targets given the ease of this operation. So which air defense systems does Islamabad actually deploy? Pakistan had deployed the Chinese long-range HQ-9 air defense system, which Islamabad procured in 2021 after the Indian Air Force strikes in Balakot in 2019. Pakistan claimed the Chinese HQ-9 offers complete air defense over 100 kilometers and a single shot kill probability. Yet it failed to detect even a single fighter jet, missile or drone, let alone target or shooting them down. Once again, Chinese military tech has found to be wanting in real-world warlike situation. There could be only two reasons. Either the Chinese HQ-9 failed to detect the Indian fighter jets and missiles, or it failed to respond in time to prevent this Indian precision strike. LY-80EV is yet another Chinese air defense system deployed by Pakistan. It has a range of nearly 70 kilometers, but this medium-range air defense system also crumbled against the Indian attack. Not just that, Pakistan also has a short-range Chinese origin FM-90, which has a range of 15 kilometers. On paper, this is supposed to be deadly against fighter jets or drones as well as missiles. Pakistan also has its own ANZA short-range air defenses, but they all were caught off guard, spoofed and beaten by this Indian offensive. In a broader conflict or in an all-out war, India's ability to beat Pakistani air defenses may prove to be decisive. This was the boldest and visibly explosive Indian military operation against terror headquarters inside Pakistan ever since the 1971 war.
इस कार्रवाई में 9 टेररिस्ट कैंप्स को टारगेट किया गया.
India and Pakistan have fought two official wars post-1947, with both leading to decisive Indian victories. In 1965, Indian soldiers reached Lahore before a ceasefire. In 1971, Pakistan was split into two, leading to the independence of Bangladesh and the surrender of 93,000 Pakistani soldiers to the Indian Army in what is the biggest military surrender ever since World War II. So what has been Pakistan's response this time so far? Pakistan military has been shelling border areas close to the LOC in Kashmir. However, so far reports have only come of a few civilian homes which have been hit, with no damage to any Indian military infrastructure. While Pakistan Prime Minister called it an act of war, Pakistan's Defense Minister Asif claimed that his country is willing to halt hostilities if India also agrees to do the same.
If India backs down, we will definitely wrap up this thing.
It's understandable, given how easily India has struck terror networks inside Pakistan. Islamabad would be wise not to escalate this conflict or risk utter defeat on the field of battle. But India must expect a retaliation from Pakistan to save its face after the global embarrassment. So far, Pakistan has only resorted to artillery firing and small arms fire across the LOC. But will it risk a larger conflict or another war with India? Pakistan's nuclear threats have failed. They have fallen flat, and Indian military superiority is for the world to see. In fact, Pakistani news media started peddling old pictures from 2021 of a MiG-21 crash to claim that an Indian Air Force Rafale jet had been hit. However, Pakistani media was fact-checked on the platform X, leading to more embarrassment for Islamabad. Other Pakistani users started showing game footage to claim an Indian Air Force fighter jet was shot, but it was obvious that this footage is fake or AI. Other Pakistani users claimed Srinagar Air Force Base had been hit, but this was fact-checked again on X and was found to be footage from the game battlefield. Even inside India, users claim to show a footage of Pakistani JF-17 jet falling from the sky after being hit by Indian air defense systems, but even this news is not confirmed as of now. Meanwhile, Indian government also fact-checked fake news reports of a brigade headquarters being hit in Kashmir. While such claims will be proven over the next few days, there is no denying the visible success of Operation Sindoor by the Indian military. Justice has been served to the victims of the Pahalgam terror attack. The Indian Air Force had used its Sukhoi 30s as well as Rafale fighter jets armed with Scalp cruise missiles and Hammer precision-guided bombs for this military operation. Maybe in another video we will go into detail on how the Scalp and Hammer weapon systems were able to strike deep inside Pakistan with pinpoint precision. Meanwhile, the Indian Army had deployed its missiles, artillery systems, small arms fire, as well as loitering munitions and drones. While the Indian Navy had also played a part in this multi-dimensional operation. But with this military operation, Bharat has sent a loud warning to Islamabad. terror will not be tolerated. 2016 surgical strikes, 2019 Balakot airstrikes, and now 2025 Operation Sindoor have all gone up the escalation ladder. Time and again, India has provided proof of Pakistani role behind multiple terror attacks in India, from Pakistani satellite phones to Pakistani weapons to even catching Pakistani attackers behind these terror incidents. But over time, Islamabad has just failed to act. They have only offered excuses, while terror networks continue to thrive openly in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. Now the ball is again in Pakistan's court. Dismantle terror network for good, or the Indian military is well prepared to do it for you.
The Indian Armed Forces are fully prepared to respond to Pakistani misadventures.
The next few days would be crucial. Will Pakistan decide to escalate this conflict, or will it finally decide to correct its ways and end state-sponsored terror against India? Kashmir has been part of India for thousands of years. It was mentioned in the Indian epic Mahabharata in 300 or 400 BC. While again in 1947, the ruler of Jammu and Kashmir legally decided to join the Indian Union, rejecting Pakistan. Entire Kashmir, including POK and Gilgit, are Indian territory, and Pakistan has no legal or historical claim to it. Islamabad now must stop peddling religious extremism and call it a freedom struggle. Kashmiris are Indians, they march with Indian flags, they reject Islamabad's terror policy and want nothing to do with Pakistan. Still, the Indian military must remain prepared for a military retaliation by Munir. Pakistan has been embarrassed on the global stage, but it must choose to de-escalate and correct its ways, or risk total demolition on the battlefield. What do you believe? Is Operation Sindoor a befitting reply to the Pahalgam terror attack? Leave a comment with your opinion, hit the like button and subscribe to Inconnect News.